The town of Jabalpur is shocked. Nation cries foul. Porsche hit and run case, Pune. India is in pain and cries for justice. This recording done on 23rd May 2024. And today, on the 25th of May 2024, the father says his son was not driving the Porsche. It was a driver. Now what is happening? Question is ours. We'll wait for your answer. Saturday, 18th May 2024, Pune, Kalyani Nagar. Two IT professionals from Madhya Pradesh, Jabalpur, Anish Anadi and Ashwini Costa, going on their bike. A Porsche Taycan comes from behind and hits them. The girl, Ashwini Costa, is dragged for about 50 feet. Both die on the spot. Porsche is an expensive vehicle, ranging anywhere between 1.5 to 2.5 CR. The airbags open up. The car slows down. The public, few people that time on the road, catch hold of the driver, hand over to police. He's a minor, 17 years and 8 months to be precise. Within 15 hours, he's granted bail with 4 conditions given by the court. Community service, I'll just read it out. Working with traffic constable, writing an essay, attending counseling and painting traffic awareness rules. We start from here. And I have chosen one of the most appropriate gentlemen who can actually throw good light on that. It's a clean, healthy discussion. Basically, the concept is whether the sentence awarded to that youngster is correct. If not correct, what other means can come. I have with me Mr. Ashish Pandey. Ashish, welcome to KukSpeaks. Ashish, I'll just introduce to the audience. Ashish is the president of the Bhopal Automobile Dealer Association. He is the MP in charge for the national body, FADA. He is a marine engineer himself. He's been in the automobile industry for over about 30 years now. He's an authority. He's a consultant who goes abroad for automobile consultancy services. The right man to throw light on that. We start from this very particular description, Ashish, which I've given you.
First of all, my condolences to Anish and to Ashwini, who were IT professionals hailing from my state, MP. And they met a gruesome death at the hand of an errant teenager driving a Porsche. So, to sum up the whole thing in brief, my observation on this issue, as compared to the kid, mind is very impressionable. At that age, most of us are not very mature. I would blame the system and the parenting. System because we have to blame ourselves as well as the police. As a corporate identity, it is incumbent upon us and also the government to take up safety riding and traffic awareness as a part of study curriculum in the school. Because my team, we conduct 8 to 9 seminars every year in school and colleges, mainly schools. And we try to teach the students there who are in anywhere between 8th and 11th class. What is safety riding? What is traffic awareness? And what are the traffic rules? From here in onwards, I appeal to everybody to take this as a subject in school. Because now you see, with the increase in the population and the traffic on road, these kind of instances will happen increasingly more. So there is a need to nip the bud.
Yeah, very good observation, Ashish, that why not take this, to the school where the kiddies can be taught what is the result of rash driving. But as I pointed, of course, this is a very good point you have raised, Ashish. But as I said, the punishments awarded to the young lad, as I said, 17 years and 8 months old. And then, of course, there was a huge hue and cry in the country. And then now he's been sent into the jail. My main thing is, by handing over a punishment or a community punishment like this, writing an essay or working with the traffic constable, Does it actually signify the amount of loss that a young man has done? Discussing with Ashish out of the camera, that kabhi if we send a youngster who's got a good background, or any youngster, maybe from whichever background, and into the hardcore criminal area, then he doesn't get a chance to improve, right? So maybe the community service is good. I'm not disputing, but before I give the mic to you, I've got two instances. Now there was one chap who was given community service for a girl. Community service in a hospital by the High Court, by the Madhya Pradesh High Court for vulgar calls and stalking. Now he was given the community service. This fellow was also given the community service. Now both the crimes are not the same. I'm talking about the nature of the crime. There was another juvenile 14-year-old who was not granted bail. Why? From the Uttarakhand court. Because the girl he was stalking and making obscene videos committed suicide. So there are two instances. Both are youngsters. One who was making vulgar calls was given in community service. You compare this, he killed two people, he was given community service. There was one fellow who was making obscene calls and made vulgar videos, he was given sentence. How do you correlate this particular aspect, which I am very keen to discuss with you?
Basically, my view may be contrarian to like a lot of people on this issue. I feel the verdict or the punishment handed over to the young imbecile youth, maybe, as I can call him, is path-breaking. And I personally feel that making a person of his age writing an essay where he scouts, he goes into Google and he talks to people and he talks about what safety riding, traffic awareness and traffic rules are there and how they help us in our lives. So that way he learns something along the way. And to make painting, I don't know whether he was a painter or not, but making him work with the traffic police for 14 days would definitely, leave an indelible mark on his mind, on his self, which may prove to be useful in the long run. So I feel personally that the verdict was good and he should not have been remanded for 5 days after a lot of hue and cry was raised.
Well. Now that is something, someone from KukSpeaks, maybe I don't agree with you, Ashish, but of course it's your personal view. But what about the loss of those two families? That community service for these juveniles who are young minors, to give them the criminal background is bad. Agreed. But what about the loss to those two families? One has lost a son, one has lost a daughter. Why not send this man to Jabalpur and work with the family for 2 years or 1 year, study there? Some sort of a hardship. This community service, what I thought, was a very, very, very simple community service. Writing an essay, sitting with the traffic, for someone who could not pay 1,758 rupees, his father, to get the car registered in Pune, and he paid nearly about 2 crores to get the car from Bangalore, and maybe about 40,000 plus thousand to get the number of his choice. You see the negligence on his part. Right? Of course, he is landed in jail now, which I feel is a very rightful decision by the court. I agree with you. I'm totally with you, but it's not the hue and cry. But what about those two families, Ashish? Those two poor families, they were driving, they were coming from a party, then the police questioning their relation for those who are already dead. That was ridiculous. Then the police claiming that he has not taken drink. I'm going with the newspaper reports. The first day that he came, he was not drunk. Then we get that he paid 48,000 rupees for 90 minutes of drinking. But don't you feel it was a light sort of a community service awarded to him?
I personally feel that being harsh with people who are still in their youth could have more adverse impact on them in the long run. But here, this is basically, like I said earlier, this problem has to be nipped in the bud. And if you see the traffic in Pune, in any other place in India where the number of vehicles are increasing, people don't obey traffic rules at all. And police is not able to implement because of their lethargy, number one. Number two, because of political interference. See, we should talk about larger issue. Verdict, important thing. But the larger issue is that this has to be removed. It is spreading like cancer. I see, in my town also, youth who may be around 14 or 15 years of age, driving triple on motorcycle and speeding away. And now super bikes have come which have got very high engine capacity and very high horsepower and torque, and they are screaming down the road, putting everyone's life at risk. So we have to control them. Like in the larger interest, like in the police, the corporate, and the parents all have to be involved in improving the state of traffic on road.
Absolutely, I totally agree with you, because as you rightly said, our main interest is much on a larger scale rather than commenting on this particular thing. Of course, the heart bleeds for the family. They belong to Jabalpur. I mean, it's absolutely bleeds for them. Absolutely sad. No compensation or no punishment can compensate the family of those two IT professionals who have died. Ashish, another thing. I mean, you are the president of the Bhopal Automobile Dealer Association. The road rage issue coming because of these youngsters. I think the government has to take a very stern step. As they rightfully said, the parents have been punished. It goes to the mind of the child कि मेरे कारण मेरे पिता जेल में गए, बुरा तो लगता है. तो क्यों नहीं ये जो बच्चे गाड़ी चलाते हैं, जैसे आपने राइटफुली बोला कि 3 लोग हैं, अच्छा, then they overtake from the left side, and suppose they hit your car, then they are ready to fight with you. They will not admit their mistakes. They are not license holders. सबसे बड़ा पॉइंट जो आशीष ने बोला कि स्कूल एजुकेशन में ट्रैफिक रूल्स के बारे में कोई ज्ञान ही नहीं है. Maybe we can start a chapter on the schools, maybe 9, 10th or 11th, giving them the safety of traffic. So this road rage which is rising a lot is so bad. Don't you feel that some stern punishment for these youngsters, including what this minor has done, driving a car and drinking it to glory till 2:30 in the morning, knowing my father is very rich. Some sort of a stern stepping from the Supreme Court or the Court of Law of India should come, banning, so that they have this fear कि यार मैं गाड़ी चलाऊंगा, अगर पुलिस वाला पकड़ लेगा भैया तो 1 साल का जेल होगा या मेरे पिताजी जेल जाएंगे. Something of that sort.
Like, in India, the traffic rules are very lax. It is very easy to get license. If you go abroad, if you go to any Western country, or if you go to America or anywhere else, which are more advanced, you will find that to get a license is a moment when you rejoice and throw a party. Because there is no pull, there is no pressure from the top. It is totally you and the person who is taking your test, and no one interferes. First and foremost, the way you test a person before issuing a license is very important. That would ensure that he knows how to drive, number one. Number two, he is very well aware of all the traffic rules.
Exactly.
And which may sound slightly controversial, but I think I should make it over here. I had an opportunity to give a talk or make a lecture in PTRI, Police Training and Research Institute at Jahangirabad in Bhopal. In that, in front of police officers, I said that, first of all, our police should learn how to follow the traffic rules. You will find them speeding away, you will find them honking, you will find them not wearing helmets. So, first of all, it is the person who is enforcing the rule who should lead by example. Second, there should be consistency in implementation of rules. It should not be like this, कि you start muhim that everyone should wear helmet, and for 15 days you go very strict, and then after that you stop it. It should not be like that. How can you excuse ladies from not wearing helmet? Are they not having a head? How can you excuse a pillion rider? So it should be consistently and vehemently implemented, like you rightly said, that some rules should be strict, and then once you flout the rules, you should be issued a ticket. It should have penalty points. So once you exceed a particular level of penalty points, your license should be confiscated for a certain period of time. So that will instill a sense of fear in the mind of the person who drives the vehicle, that they should park it properly, they should drive properly, they should follow traffic rules, and they should behave like best gentlemen on the road.
No, of course, Ashish, this is what you're saying for those people who have got the license. I am saying those people who don't qualify for a license. What should be the modus operandi of the court, of the police to find those people? I'm talking about people who are 14, who are 15, like this gentleman, he crashed the car, drunk. You are absolutely drunk. In Bhopal, in Madhya Pradesh, we have got these checkpoints where you have the ballooning system. You go to Delhi or you go to Bombay, people are absolutely scared to drink, and you have even a peg and drive because the checking is so heavy. Why can't this be implemented very strictly? Each and every place, their balloons are not very expensive. You can hire people from the public, stop the car and balloon and थाने में डालिए आप अंदर. मैं उस विषय में बात कर रहा था आशीष कि जिस विषय में वो एलिजिबल ही नहीं है और उसको लाइसेंस दे रहे हो आप. तो क्या उस केस में उनके पिताजी से वो स्कूटर जब्त करा के क्या पेनल्टी या उनको सजा देनी चाहिए या नहीं देनी चाहिए?
Like I just mentioned, when you issue license, you should have a very strict examination and it should be independent. It should be devoid of any interference from politicians or from anyone else. Secondly, like I had mentioned in my talk in the PTRI, I had mentioned that apart from this, you can observe a score of youth at any point in the day who look like 14 or 15 years of age, like you rightly mentioned, driving vehicles, and they don't drive alone. When they drive for fun. They are burning their fuel, which is in fact their father's hard-earned money, and they don't drive alone. They drive with two more people on a bike, which is supposed to carry only two people. So, as an automobile engineer and an expert, I advise them that see, a two-wheeler is designed to take only two persons. The moment you exceed two, it will lose its sense of balance. And it is more prone to accident, especially when you drive roughshod or when you drive fast, which they usually do. So, police should also be on the lookout and ensure that these rules are not flaunted. Okay, they may be having their own issues, like they're understaffed or stuff like that, but it is not our problem.
My issue is yet you have not answered. The penalty for those people who are not eligible for a license. This is my third time I'm asking you. What should be done to them? Are they punishable? As you write, I'm trying to pinpoint your likeness to this case to the present case. Suppose we have got this gentleman Sagar, our cameraman. He is a minor. He is driving, right? He is arrested by the cop. What should be done with him? Should he be penalized? Should his father be penalized? Should the two-wheeler be confiscated? I'm talking about those who are not eligible. Point noted, where eligibility is there, it should be strict, it should be. I'm trying to ask you as an expert, what should be done? What sort of a punishment should be given to those youngsters who are driving illegally?
If a person not having a license is driving the vehicle and if he's caught, then the vehicle should be confiscated and the owner of the vehicle should be asked to pay the registration and road tax of that vehicle again, which is a mighty sum and which will drain a significant amount of resources from his wallet.
Very good point. I think this is what I was trying to emphasize, Ashish, कि बड़ी देर से निकाला इसने अपने अंदर कि जो आदमी एलिजिबल नहीं है और वो अपने पिताजी की गाड़ी को ड्राइव कर रहा है और वो उसको पकड़ा जाता है या कोई क्राइम करता है तो उससे रोड टैक्स और उस गाड़ी का जो रजिस्ट्रेशन का जो पैसा है वो वसूल किया जाए और अगर वो पिताजी नहीं देते तो उसके एवज में कुछ ना कुछ सज़ा होनी चाहिए. तो वो जब पेमेंट का वो बच्चे के सर पे आएगा कि मैं यार पिताजी ऑफिस का चलो मैं स्कूटर लेके अपने दोस्तों के साथ भगता हूँ, तो दैट शुड बी इन हिज माइंड कि इफ आई एम कॉट माई फादर हैज टू पे 50,000 or 40,000, मे बी देन ही रिफ्रेन्स.
Apart from that, the parents will be very strict and very much concerned about it, and they will not carelessly hand over the vehicle to their guy, the son, if he's a minor.
Well, coming back to the parent issue, you said कि वो अगर पता चलेगा तो the parents will not hand over carelessly. Well, Mr. Vishar Agarwal gave his credit card to the young man. He go and booze at 12 o'clock and he's paying 48,000 in 90 minutes. So it is a bad thing. I mean, all said and done, it's a parenting issue. It's a parenting problem. It's a very serious issue, which we'll conclude with a very strong note on this. Now, Ashish, I remember you've been involved, as I said, as a consultant and technically a very sound man. I remember discussing with you, years back, and you had given a proposal also to the Honorable Collector of Bhopal. Now, for those people who are overtaking you from the wrong side, I recollect you had some suggestion. Can you share that suggestion with us?
It's a very simple thing and very, very practical. Put speed breakers, you have speed breakers on the road. That speed breakers could be laden with iron spikes. These spikes will have nails, obviously, like they're spikes. And if a vehicle is coming from the wrong side, and they just puncture the vehicle which is coming from the wrong side. So if the vehicle is going from the right side, I mean, it will not hamper its movement. But if it is coming from the wrong side, the vehicle will quietly and simply get punctured.
Yeah, and then what about those people who are coming on the right side but overtaking you from the left side? उसका क्या solution है?
This is a major scourge, because if you see in India, most of the vehicles, trucks, and the buses and all those which move slowly, they are driving on the extreme right-hand side of the road, which is actually like reserved for vehicles which moves fastest. So what you need to do is, like I've seen in states and like other advanced countries or like Western countries, they have cameras fixed along the highways, and on the main roads also, like in the town and city. Now, if your vehicle is moving below a certain speed in the last lane or the third lane, or on extreme right, then immediately you get a message on your mobile and you are fined. So start imposing penalty and harsh penalties on vehicles who do not move in the right lane as per the speed allocated for that lane.
Correct. I mean, something like that. So, Ashish, I think a very lovely session with Mr. Ashish Pandey. We could conclude, Ashish, I think, at this juncture. Yeah.
Express my feelings in no uncertain terms, because I'm really concerned with the way traffic is like deteriorating in Bhopal and everywhere else in India.
Yeah, little strictness has to come, and especially as we discussed, we took this case, and as I said, the heart bleeds for Anish and Ashwini. I mean, absolutely, something which I think for years people will remember in the country. The very, very tragic end. Some sort of a harsh punishment should be given, as maybe not to the son, as Ashish point. Maybe I would agree to a certain extent. A little harsher community. This is too light a community punishment for him to, get scot-free. But parent, yes, it should be a strict, very strict sort of a punishment to him, so that this thing is never repeated back in the history of Indian traffic. And I thank you, Ashish, so much. We have taken points. We have taken points about the road rage. We have taken points about the drunken driving. We have taken points to this. Our tribute, and we give our tribute to the family of these two youngsters at Jabalpur. May God bless them. And as I said, harshest of the punishment going to the father, the parents, because of whom the whole incident took place. Jai Hind.